Okay, so today, 5 grammar MCQ, right? And then there is, of course, comprehension cloze, and then the situational writing. So today's components are very important, especially the last two. So grammar cloze, how many of you remember? Grammar cloze in paper 2 is always 10, wait. Right, let me change my pen color, come on. Okay, it's always 10 questions, right? There's always 10 questions, and each of them is 1 mark, so it's 10 marks, right? And it's the first part of the paper 2. There are 4 papers for PSLE. Paper 2 opens with grammar MCQ, 10 questions, 10 marks. Of course, for 3 lesson, there's only 5 questions. Now, comprehension cloze. Anybody knows how many questions, how many marks? No one? Anyone? Comprehension cloze. Yes. I'm not here, by the way. What kind of name 15. Is that? Yes, 15 questions, and how many marks?
15.
Yes, very good. Okay, so it's 15 questions, 15 marks, because each of them is 1 mark. Very good. So remember, this is very tricky. This one is very, very difficult for most students. There's no helping words, there's nothing. They test you on verbs, adjectives, adverbs, every other thing for the blank. Situational writing is not, this 2 is paper 2, right? This 2 is composed of paper 2. This one is paper 1. Paper 1 is 1 hour, 10 minutes for PSLE, right? You have 45 minutes to write a composition, and you have 15 minutes, only 5 minutes to do situational writing. So if you're actually doing it for class, try and time yourself. Are you able to write within 15 minutes? Okay. And this one is 15 marks, right? 6 marks for the content. And then, of course, the remaining 9 marks for language, which is how you're marked. And I'll go through that later. Okay. For now, let's start with grammar cloze. But before that is today's riddle. Anybody knows the answer? It also ends with "and." What do you call someone who is cruel and oppressive? Oppressive means someone who's very harsh and cruel. By the way, if you see this, it's a short form for "and." Okay, that's what you are seeing it there. So what do you call someone? This word is usually used to talk about a ruler, like Hitler is a tyrant, was a tyrant. Okay, someone who is a dictator. Dictator means the person who tells you everything what to do, you must listen to them. One person rule. Okay, so that's a dictator. So when someone is like very cruel and very oppressive, they use this word to describe the person. It's to call that person. This is a noun. Anybody knows the answer? It starts with T. No one? Okay, I will tell you the answer, okay? Tyrant. Have you heard of the word tyrant? No one has heard of the word tyrant? No one? Okay, Jerusha is not shaking her head. Okay, yes. Tyrant is a word you should know in case it comes off a vocabulary MCQ where they test you on synonyms, right? So tyrant is referring to a ruler, a dictator, someone who has all the control in the world. So can you imagine if Singapore is ruled by a tyrant, a dictator? I mean, one person controls everything. So there's you have to listen to him. If not, you're going to be punished, and it's just cruel. If I say, for example, my teacher is like a tyrant, okay, that means she's very cruel. She gives a lot of punishments, a lot of yeah, she's just cruel and oppressive. Or my mom is a tyrant, okay, that means it's like she's just oppressive and cruel. So that's what it means, and that's the noun. All right, let's start. Who wants to choose my pen color? Yes, okay, I'm not here, by the way. What color do you want? I'm not here, by the way.
I want white.
Hello. Just now my class also P4 one student tell me white. Think very funny, is it? How are you going to see if white? Another color, please. No, I'm not here, by the way. I can't choose white. No. Look, I'm going to show you what is white. Can you see what I'm writing? I'm literally using white now. You cannot see anything, okay? Now, can you choose the color properly? You have 2 seconds to choose the color. Don't waste time. Yes, what color?
Rose gold.
Okay, rose gold. All right. Okay, let's start with rose gold. Okay, let's go. First question, grammar MCQ. Only for this lesson is only 5, but of course for PSA it's 10. Okay, so here. Now this one, some of you got it wrong. Let me tell you why. But first, try first. Who wants to give me the answer? Yes, Jakai.
C.
Very good. Yes, very good. Now, why? Okay, so basically these words, right? Some of them can be used with countable and uncountable nouns. Some of them can only be used for countable nouns. Some of them can only be used for singable nouns. Very confusing. So let me explain. Some can be used for both countable and uncountable. C is for countable. I'm going to write UN for uncountable. Okay, UNC is uncountable. Meaning countable things that you can count, which means there's a plural. Table is countable. Tables, there's a plural, right? Uncountable, like time. You cannot say times. If you're referring to time, it's always TIME. There's no times. So that's a trick. That's how you know that it's countable or uncountable. If it's countable, you can add a S. There's a plural. If it's uncountable, you cannot add a S. For example, sleep doesn't become sleeps. Okay, I don't have enough sleep. Sleep is uncountable. So that's what it means. So some can use for both. Okay, so it's for both, right? And so let me give you an example, okay? So I say, I need some advice. Advice is uncountable because there's no such word as advisors. I need some advisors. No, the plural of advice is advice. Next, I have some questions to ask Miss Nisha. Some questions. Questions is countable because you can add an S. Singular is question. Plural is questions. So that's an example of a countable noun, right? Because you can add an S. So you can use some for both countable and uncountable. Now, what about other? Other is only used for plural nouns or singular uncountable nouns. So what do I mean by this? So for example, other students. I cannot say other student because always plural, right? So it must be a plural noun that follows the word other. For example, what do I mean by singular uncountable noun? Music. Music cannot be counted, can it? Okay, you cannot say musics. It's only music. So you can say other music, because that is an example of singular uncountable noun. So either it's a plural noun or either it's a singular uncountable noun. Now, another, the word another comes from the word N plus other. And N refers to one thing, right? N orange, N umbrella, right? AIOU. So N, it already means one. So another can only be used with singular countable nouns. Okay, you cannot use another for uncountable nouns. It has to be things you can count and it's singular. For example, I have another book for you. I cannot say I have another books for you. Cannot, because another means N plus other and means N means one thing. So singular countable nouns. Now, enough is the same as some. The rule is for both. Okay, you can use for both countable and both uncountable, but they must be plural. Same thing for some. So some and both are only used for plural nouns, okay? And they have to be either uncountable or countable. So for example, I can say, I did not get enough sleep yesterday. Sleep is not countable, right? Enough books. Books is countable. You can add an S, so you can use for both countable and uncountable nouns, and it's plural. Now, in this case, in this question, may I have something packet of chips? Now, are we focusing on the word packet or are we focusing on the word chips? Anyone can tell me?
Packet.
Yes, very good. Give it a point, but raise a hand in future. So yes, packet is the one that you're focusing on. So packet is singular, right? It's not packets. So it's singular, which means it cannot be A because A is only used for plural. It cannot be D. D is also only used for plural, right? So it's going to be either B or it's going to be either C. Now, it cannot be B. By the way, Chelta gives out a point for the answer. It cannot be B because B is only used for singular uncountable nouns. Packet can be counted, right? You can say packets. Packet, packets. So that's why it cannot be B, because B is only for singular uncountable nouns or plural nouns, right? So the answer you're left with is C. Such a long, tiring explanation for just one question, right? But yes, one thing to take note of, always look at the noun in front of the word of. Never look at it. So if I say a herd of elephants, I'm focusing on herd, not elephants. So they're trying to trick you to see whether you know it's singular or plural. So always focus on the word in front of. So that's what the focus is, not on chips, okay? So I have another. Okay, I can breathe now. That was a very long explanation for just one question. Okay, number 2. Who can tell me the answer and who can tell me why? Okay, Jerusha, what's the answer?
B.
Yes, very good, Jerusha. Can you tell me why?
Because juice is countable.
Do you say countable?
Uncountable.
Yes, correct. Yes, very good. Give yourself 2 points.
Nisha, did you say A or B?
B. I wrote the answer on the screen. B.
Oh.
A little. Yes, very good. The answer is B, and she even told me why, because juice is uncountable. You cannot count juice. It's liquid, right? All liquid cannot be counted. Water, oil, all of them, you cannot say waters, oils, juice. Okay, so it is just first of all, less, little, and much. A, B, and D. Less, little, and much are only used for uncountable nouns. Less, little, much. These 3, oh, by the way, for the past 3 years, if you looked at the PSLE questions for the past 3 years, 2020, 2021, 2022, there was at least one question that tested on the kids' understanding of countable and uncountable nouns and quantifiers, which means these are all examples of quantifiers. They're telling you the quantity, how much, right? So they're testing you whether you know if the thing can be counted or not. So it's very good to know which words are used for which one. Less, much, little are only used for uncountable nouns, things you cannot count, uncountable, okay? Right? Enough, I already said it's not on the previous slide, right? It's for both countable and uncountable, right? So A, B, and C can only be used for uncountable. Now, many, few. These things, many and few, are used for countable nouns. They are the opposite of much and little. So if less and little is things you cannot count, the opposite of it is few. Few is for things you can count. If much is for things that you cannot count, many is the things for things you can count. So many, few are countable nouns. So the answer here is B because little juice. You cannot say because we need more, we need to buy more. So there's not that, so it cannot be enough, right? It cannot be not much, okay? Only, right? A little. You cannot say only less juice, okay? Less is usually for comparison. I have less something than something. Okay, right, good job. Number 3, what's the answer? Anyone? Yes, I love English. Yes, I love English. What's the answer?
A.
A, very good. Can you tell me why is it A, I love English? What's the
Because
clue?
like it's like I don't know how to explain, but then it's like you cannot write who you think is the most important quality of a good citizen. I don't know how to explain. It's not how to explain.
Who is for person, for people, right? Q is for people. Which is comparison, right? Which pen do you want, the red one or the blue one? So you're comparing 2 or more things. So here you're only talking about being a good citizen. It's only one thing. There's no comparison, so it cannot be B, right? And you're not talking about a person. Who do you think is the most important? Is quality. You're referring to quality. Quality is not a person, is it? The most important quality. Quality is it's not a living thing. Okay, so it cannot be C because it's not a person. Okay, it's not. You cannot be which because you're not comparing 2 things. Okay, now why can't it be that? Because that also refers to a thing. The reason is because it's a question mark. You are asking a question. You ask questions with a 6W and 1H. 6 wives and 1 husband. Have you learned this in school? 6 wives and 1 husband. This is how the teachers teach you. Remember this. 6 wives and 1 husband. I know some teachers say 5 wives and 1 husband. That's wrong. It's not 5. That's 6 because it's which, who, what, where, why, and when. These are the 6 wives. And the 1 husband, the H is how. So there's 6W and 1H, and these are all question mark. They always end with question mark. So you cannot use that because it's a question with a question mark. So you're only left with A. Okay, and quality is a non-living thing, and that's why